It has been a while since I've made any sort of Batman Arkham tier list, so today we're going to be doing a nice little tier list here. We have all the games down here on the bottom: Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, the Batman Arkham Collection, I guess it's called. It's basically the remastered collection. Batman Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins, Arkham Shadow, Suicide Squad, and Batman Arkham VR. So straight off the bat, we're just going to put this into the haven't played category yet. So there's basically a few tiers. You guys know how tier lists work. I'm the Batman, so goated. A, C, D, F. I don't know where B is, so I guess there's no B. So we're just going to go C. Okay, we're going to roll with it. Haven't played yet. Suicide Squad. And we're going to put something below Suicide Squad. We're going to put a Hugo Strange main villain type bad. Or a Scarecrow type villain type bad. I don't know. We can adjust this as we go on. If I come up with a better name for it, I will adjust it, alright? Or you know what, actually? No, I know exactly what I'm going to put here. I lied to you. We're going to do Titan Joker boss fight. Is it worse than Suicide Squad? Probably not, but we're going to do it anyway. It's just a bit of a funny meme. Alright, so to start off with Batman Arkham Asylum. So it kind of depends on how you look at this, right? So are we including stuff like DLCs? Are we including stuff like skins into the game? Because if you do, Batman Arkham Asylum is the worst. It is. And I think it's the worst of the franchise. But, and of course, not including Suicide Squad. But, there is a but there. It was the first game, right? And I believe they had 21 months to make it or something like that. So in such a short amount of time, they produced an open world game with a decent sized map. And it wasn't trying to force itself to be something really overcomplicated, right? It wasn't trying to force something that it just simply wasn't. Batman Arkham Asylum, I wouldn't put it up here. This is a little bit high. If I'm going to be somewhat harsh, if I was going to put every single game into one category, I'm going to put it it's either D or F tier, right? And I'll tell you why. Because we have these other 6 to put in, right? Now, of course, we can get rid of a tier, or whatever. I guess I can do whatever I want. It's my own tier list ranking video, so if you don't like it, whatever. But I'm going to put it, down in F tier, right? Or D tier. I'll put it up in D tier. Not because it's a bad game. It's a fantastic game. But when I compare to the other Batman games, it's not as good. And that's not a knock on the developers. That's actually praising. I'm praising them because the other games did better. Before you jumped onto the comments section and tell me that I'm absolutely stupid. Now, Batman Arkham City, oh gosh. So the more and more I hear people talk about Batman Arkham City, the more I'm actually starting to see some split opinions on this, right? So let me give you a little thing of what I've been noticing recently. Every time people talk about Batman Arkham City, they either say it is the greatest game of all time, right? It is the best thing that they've played. Or they say it's severely overrated and Knight and Origins are better. So, it's going to kind of come down to your own preference. Now, of course, this game did a really good job with expanding, adding playable DLCs like Harley Quinn's Revenge, adding in more skins, if I'm not mistaken. I think they had more skins than Asylum. Did Asylum even have any extra skins? I think the armored version of Batman or something like that, but nothing crazy. So they did add on in terms of skins, they added on in terms of DLC, they added side missions, they made the map slightly bigger. And I've always said this, I think Batman Arkham City's map is the perfect size map, right? Because nowadays you get AAA gaming developers who will develop these maps, right, that are so huge. All right, for instance, GTA 5. I know GTA 5 is an old game, but that map is freaking huge. I do not want to drive all the way across that friggin' thing. It takes way too long. I'm a little bit too impatient. I think Batman Arkham Cities is perfect, especially if you take out that big barrier in the middle. If you could just fly across or fly next to Wonder Tower, it is the perfect size map in my opinion, because it's not too big, it doesn't take more than a minute to get around, and it would take even less time if you would just let me go through the friggin' barrier. I don't even know why that barrier is still up after you complete the story, whatever. That's a completely different thing. I'm getting sidetracked here. So, it kind of depends, because for me, it's always been Arkham City and Arkham Origins that have been kind of, 1 and 2, neck and neck. One day I say City's the best, the next day I say Origins is the best. So, City, for me, I'm going to put an I am the Batman, right? And I'll tell you why, because you guys know my channel probably originally from the Under the Mayo reaction videos I did. And on those videos, I was really, really crapping on the fact that one specific thing he said about how the combat was way too easy in Arkham Knight and Cities is hard. And while I still think that opinion's a little bit I don't know if I fully agree with it. I do understand what he kind of means. Like, Batman feels a little bit overpowered in Arkham Knight with the combat. It's still the best combat, but it feels a bit overpowered at times. Batman Arkham City's Batman has a good balance where it's not too overpowered, but it's not, like, underpowered either. So I do like Arkham City's combat, like, it's probably the second best of the franchise. The story is not the best. I think it's the second best behind Origins, right? So it kind of comes down to what you prefer, story or gameplay. Of course, you want to have both, though. So I guess in that sort of aspect, if you care more about the story, then you're probably going to say that Origins is a better game, because in my opinion, the story is better in Arkham Origins. Not only is it longer, but it does a really good job with details and explaining certain aspects, like, for instance, why Bane is so dumb. And, like, it does a really good job explaining the backstory between Batman and Joker. Really good job of creating the whole dynamic between the two, which I've made videos on that before. But Arkham City will stay at I'm in the Batman for now. Now, of course, throughout the course of this video, if I start to change my mind on certain aspects, then I will absolutely move stuff accordingly. But I want to talk about this a little bit. The Batman Arkham Collection, the trilogy. Okay. I'm going to crash out here in a second. Okay. So here's my thing. When it comes to the whole Arkham games getting remasters, that's all fine, right? I get it. You want to update the graphics to the latest consoles because you want it to look good. But let's not sit here and act like that's not a money grab, okay? Let's not act like you're not trying to squeeze out that towel, right? You're trying to wring it out and get as much money as possible. I get it. You're a company. You're a business, and that's what you need to do. I respect the hustle, right? I'm not mad at it, right? I think I might have... I don't even know if I bought that one or not, actually. I think I either bought the collection or I bought them all separately. Regardless... Oh, no, I bought Return to Arkham with Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, and I bought Arkham Knight separately, I think, for whatever reason. But anyway, that's besides the point. It was very obviously a money grab, and a lot of people would say that a lot of the graphics actually look worse in comparison to the original. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I kind of see what you mean. I think that the problem is with these remasters is some of them look a little bit cartoony, right? Especially, I think it's Arkham City in particular that people say looks really cartoony and a little bit much. But I mean, I have them on PC, so the graphics on them already looks amazing to me. But Return to Arkham is gonna get an F. Only because I think that some people didn't like the fact that it was a money grab. Some people didn't like, you know, the whole graphics didn't really look as good. Also, they put it in this massive bundle as a money grab as well, because Return to Arkham, I believe, was already a thing when this came out. I believe that came out first, and then this came out after. And Batman Arkham Knight's in this collection as well, even though it was already on the latest consoles at the time. So, yeah, like I said, a clear money grab. It's going to go in F tier for me. I'm sorry. Oh, Batman Arkham Knight. This one is interesting because Batman Arkham Knight's so hit or miss, right? I'm just gonna place it here for a second. That's not my official placement. I need to think about it, but I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. This game is so, like, universally split that, like, people are either on the fence of they love this game because they really do like the storytelling. They like, you know, the fact that Batman's still struggling mentally with the whole Joker aspect. And other people think that the Joker aspect of the game sucks. The Batmobile is garbage. And forcing the Joker into a game like this so heavily, it just really puts the icing on the cake that people were tired of the Joker because he was the main feature in the first 3 games, which I absolutely understand. If you don't want to deal with more Joker, I understand why you would be annoyed. You want a Joker-free game. Because especially for people who are more hardcore Batman fans, people who really enjoy the lore of other villains as well, you know, they want to see people like Two-Face and Penguin really make a more so mainstream appearance going into something like this. Or if you want to have guys like Ratcatcher, if you want to have Anarchy return, I'm blanking, Prometheus, if you want to have him featured in the games, and you want to have people like Mr. Freeze make another prominent appearance, Ra's al Ghul, like, some of the stuff we did get was all good, but then having someone like Joker come in, I personally like it because I love Mark Hamill's Joker, excuse me. Yeah, I love Mark Hamill's Joker. It's absolutely amazing. Like, I will never miss an opportunity, especially when he sung that song, which is actually the reason why he took on the project in the first place. But again, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. I think that Arkham Knight definitely deserves to be in C because it has the best combat. You know, it adds in a bunch of new enemy types going into this. The stealth is really good. The boss fights are not really good. The Batmobile is forced a bit too much, but I also understand why they did it because it was the only game that they were going to get to be able to use it. And I do think it's a little bit blown out of proportion how much people hate on it. However, in particularly the main story is where my biggest issue with it is. And yeah, some of the side missions can be a bit much, but side missions are optional. But the problem is with the main story is that you have to play in order to proceed throughout the story. Like, it is not an option. If you want to beat the story, you need to do the annoying Batmobile stuff. And some people are going to also say that the Riddler rooms are also annoying. I think that's fine. I think the Riddler rooms are fine. The racetracks are fine. Cool DLC. This game had some really good DLC as well. You know, the Season of Infamy in particular was really good. A Matter of Family was decent. It's kind of just a lot of, like, filler for the most part and a lot of place setting, but the settings themselves are pretty cool. It's a lot of combat and stealth missions and stuff, and not really a whole lot of story involved in it other than we're just trying to get to Barbara Gordon's dad. But it's still a decent enough little pack. It's about an hour long-ish, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But then some of the other DLCs were also the worst in the franchise, right? A coin flip. I'm trying to think of whatever Nightwing's one was called, the GCPD one. Riddler's Revenge was pretty bad. Harley Quinn, Red Hood. Like, those were all pretty trash packs. They all took about, 15 minutes each, if that. So it's very hit or miss. Some things are very good and the best in terms of the combat. Some of the DLCs are amazing. But then some of the things are the worst in terms of the main antagonist, the DLCs. So it's kind of a mixed bag. So for that reason, I think putting it in C is the appropriate option, because even if you don't like Batman Arkham Knight, there are still good qualities about it to keep it from being as bad as something like Arkham Asylum. Not that Arkham Asylum is bad, that's bad phrasing, but it's better than Arkham Asylum. It's got much more stuff to it, much better DLC, much better open world gameplay, better overall gameplay. You know, the main story it drags on a little bit, but I like Arkham Asylum for the simplicity of it, and I like Arkham Knights from the standpoint of, you know, who is the Arkham Knight or whatever, this new character. If it wasn't Jason Todd, right? If the Arkham Knight was like a completely different person, whoever you might think it would be, if it was Anarchy or something, I don't think people would be as disappointed. But also, a lot of people got it spoiled from them in the trailers at the time when the game was coming out. I didn't watch the trailers. I don't really watch game trailers, but you know, that was one of those things that a lot of people were kind of disappointed in. So Arkham Knight is going to get C. Batman Arkham Origins, well, I'm going to put it at so goated, because, like I said, these two are so interchangeable for me. Like, one day I could literally wake up and be like, yo, I really want to play Batman Arkham Origins today. And the next day I could wake up and be like, really want to play Batman Arkham City, which that reminds me, I do have a video idea going to be coming out soon here as well. Just talking about why the Batman Arkham games are so important, because these literally not only made up a lot of our childhoods, but also, like, for me personally, these games are the ones I keep coming back to. Like, every time I play a game, I compare it to these games. Like, either whether it's on purpose or not, I always compare it. But I'm going to save that video idea for another day. I'm not going to spoil too much here. But Batman Arkham Origins was a very good game. At the time, it received a lot of flack, right? Because a lot of people would say, like, you know, it's not as good as Batman Arkham City. People didn't like the fact that the Joker was put into it. They felt like it was false marketing. But people would still acknowledge that the boss battles were good. But another thing that I think was also part of it at the time that people may or may not have wanted to acknowledge was the fact that it wasn't made by Rocksteady, right? This game was made by WB Games Montreal, and I think a lot of people didn't want to accept the fact that a non-Rocksteady made game it could match up to the level of something like Batman Arkham City and a Rocksteady game, but people really didn't want to admit it at the time, so I think that was part of the problem as well. And also, the graphics were a little bit different. I remember, like, you guys remember, like, the, what's it called? Is it called, like, the CGI scenes? Or whatever, like the pre-cut scenes or whatever it's called, that some of them aged like really, really poorly, and like, but some of them look kind of cool, some of them look cinematic, and at the time, it was really, really good. But if I'm also not mistaken, I believe Batman Arkham Origins also had a pretty short time of development, and I know that there was also a whole thing about bugs and glitches in this game and stuff. In my opinion, the map was a bit too big. I don't like the whole idea of fast travel. I think if you have to have fast travel in a game, then your map is probably a bit too big. I don't know if that's a controversial opinion or not, but that's just how I look at it. But the combat was good. I think that adding the shock gloves was a bit unnecessary. It kind of puts your combat on easy mode for the majority of the game, but I do like it though. It feels kind of cool beating down thugs. Like I said, the boss battles were absolutely phenomenal. Zero complaints from me on that. So I think that having it at So Goated is appropriate. They had the best DLC in the franchise too, that being Cold Cold Heart. I really do love that DLC. That was the best in the franchise. Like, the thing is, as well, is at the end of that DLC with that boss fight with Mr. Freeze, it's kind of like a lesser version of the Arkham City Mr. Freeze, but that's also okay because they themselves are just at the beginning of their careers, right? So it's kind of like, it's a lesser version, but they're also a lesser version of themselves for what is to come. So it kind of makes sense in a way that it's not as good, or it doesn't quite live up to the hype of like a Batman Arkham City Mr. Freeze boss battle. Moving on to Batman Arkham Shadow. So this is going to get, it's also going to be C tier, I think. Them and I don't know, like, them and Arkham Knight are interchangeable, but they're also completely different games, right? Like, Batman Arkham Shadow is a very narrow-driven game, right? Like, it's not open world. I'm forgetting what the correct term is when it's not an open world game. It's very, like, narrow-driven. Like, you have to go one specific way. But it's also really cool because you get to play it in first person, which is actually something I've said that I would love to see in a console Arkham game. I'd love the ability to play in first person. Not that I would use it necessarily, but I think that other people would. I think it'd be a really nice feature. But when you're talking about Batman Arkham Shadow, I thought the combat and the stealth lived up pretty well. I think it's the best VR game I've ever played, and it's a lot of fun to play. It was absolutely worth the time. I would obviously say it's not as good as Batman Arkham Knight in terms of combat or whatever. But they're different style of game. Even though you're playing as the same character in the same continuity, it's a different style of game, so it's hard to compare. But the combat of Arkham Knight's obviously going to be better. The stealth's obviously going to be better, right? There's obviously limits and, limits of how much you can actually do on a VR game. But for what it is very, very good. I wasn't a whole fan of the whole Two-Face Rat King reveal thing. Like, I don't know. It wasn't my personal favorite reveal. I actually low-key kind of preferred the Jason Todd one, because for me it was a surprise. Whereas Two-Face being it's like, oh, we kind of built it up and now it's just going to be you, because like Harvey's obviously struggling with the multiple personalities and everything going on. Like his one personality is Rat King, his other personality is kind of like the lawyer still. It's a whole thing. In the whole game, you're kind of seeing these flashbacks about how badly Harvey was treated as a kid, and it would kind of go on to explain his personality. I didn't personally love it, but I did like the game. I did think the story was still very good. I thought that the whole prison thing was okay. But I don't really know how I feel about switching back and forth between two different people, two different personalities of Batman and Irving Malone, I think his name was, if I'm not mistaken. Like, some of the boss battles were pretty cool. I liked seeing young Harley Quinn and young Crane, Scarecrow. So I think that they're on par with each other, but they're two different games and it's very hard to compare. Lastly, Suicide Squad. You're not even getting Suicide Squad tier. You're getting Titan Joker boss fight tier. Okay, like this is what the tier list is going to officially look like, but I want to explain this a little bit as well. I don't think that Suicide Squad is as bad as people made it out to be. All right, let's hold off a little bit, right? I think a lot of people jumped to conclusions on their opinion. One, when they saw that the spoiler before the game came out that Arkham Batman was going to die, but then it turned out that that there was like 13 other universes or something like that, and that was just one of those versions of Batman. It was so weird to me. Like, I didn't really understand it or even like it that much. Like, I'm not that much into like unrealistic fantasy type stuff or whatever you want to call this, sci-fi type stuff. That's not really my personal cup of tea. And you might say that's a bit like controversial considering that I like Batman, but Batman himself is not really like a sci-fi anime type of character. Like, his character is realistic, and that's part of the reason why I like him as a superhero. But in terms of the game itself, I thought that the gameplay was just kind of boring. Like, it was very repetitive. It just added more and more enemy types, but it didn't necessarily make it good. You're just constantly shooting people, like, the entire game. Like, I would like to see some more free-flow combat. Like, you can argue that all the Batman Arkham games do that. It just adds more enemies. But the combat is actually intriguing to me in the Arkham games, whereas Suicide Squad's kind of like, it's okay. Like, this game had so much potential, right? A Suicide Squad game would have so much potential, especially coming from the developers of the Batman Arkham games, right? And I think the thing is, Suicide Squad's not as popular as Batman as well. That's another thing. I think this is more for the die-hard, like, DC fans than anything else. I played it, like, it's not even that I thought the story was bad. I just thought it was kind of flat. Like, there wasn't a whole lot in there that is really memorable. Like, think about it. What's the most memorable moment of the game? Probably when you unalive each and every superhero at the end of the boss battle. But the fact that they've been corrupted and stuff, I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Like it's literally in the title, Kill the Justice League. But, them being corrupted and everything by I forget who it was that corrupted them exactly. Like, see what I mean? Like, it's not even that memorable. Like, it was interesting. It was kind of hard to have to actually unalive Batman. That was a hard watch for me. Like, I wasn't hard while watching. No, not this time. Usually I am, but not this one. But Suicide Squad doesn't even get Suicide Squad tier for me. Like, it's not even that bad. I think it's a little bit overhated. I think the hate's a bit forced. People just like to fit in, but it's not a great game. But guys, this is my tier list. Let me know what you would adjust down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys want to see next. I know this is a gaming channel. I want to make Let's Play stuff. I haven't been doing the Batman Arkham City one because honestly, I got a little bit bored of it. I wasn't really enjoying making those videos. I want to make something that I enjoy, but something that you guys would also enjoy watching. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Peace!